scream. The pyramid crashes down. I scream like a schoolgirl. I go, ah! But Tammy's like, all right, girls, bring it in. I know that was really scary, but girls, when something like that happens, you can't scream. And at the time, I was like, I just stood behind Tammy like it was me. But I never said anything. I just was like, that's right, girls. You don't go screaming in the middle of a pyramid like that. And like years later, I was like, Tammy, I gotta admit, it was really me who screamed.
Tammy, video footage of Brandon walking and like sneaking around, like caught red-handed, all the girls walking through, and I'm like, hey, they should have, someone could have, thank goodness they didn't catch me eating the leftover fries, you know, like, and so then like we get in there
and we're on. This is the Let's Talk Cheer podcast, and I'm your host, Jason Larkins, where we talk cheer, we talk life, and we talk whatever comes to mind. 5, 6, 7, 8, let's get started.
Turn it up, you tuning into Let's Talk Cheer with Jason Larkins. We're talking cheer, we're talking like you know we're always talking. So listen up, you boy, I'm about to go all in. 5, 6, 7, 8, we're on, let's begin.
This is episode number 100, and what's funny is for a long time, I've known episode 100 was coming up, and to me it was just another episode. But now as we're here, I've been getting a tiny bit emotional. So thank you guys for all the support. It truly, truly, truly means the world to me. Not sure if there's going to be an episode 101, but thank you for joining. We have a great episode for you guys today. Today we have on Tami Fleming, Olivia Quick, and Brandon Seagondollar, the coaches and the homies of CBU. We'll talk specifically about their roles, what they were and what they are at CBU later, but this was just a fun episode full of laughs. I mentioned CBU a lot on the podcast, so I thought it'd be really cool to reminisce about my old stomping grounds with some of my very best friends. If it's your first time here, thank you for checking out the show. You have 99 other episodes to catch up on so that you don't miss any more. Be sure to subscribe everywhere because we're everywhere. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, you name it, and we are there. Also, if you haven't already followed us, be sure to follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. We post clips from the show there, but we also do a lot of other fun videos. Now, we do giveaways here on the actual podcast, but we also do separate giveaways there on the Instagram channel, right? On Instagram and on TikTok, so be sure to follow us there. On TikTok, it is jasonc.larkins, and on Instagram, it is Let's Talk Cheer Podcast, and then put a bunch of underscores in between each word. Shout out to my mother, Sheila, Claire, Sarah, Robin, Adriana, Chanel, Tamara, myself, my not so mysterious supporter, Heather Peterson of Flipslide, Pablo representing for all the cheer dads out there, our mate Michelle, Mike the lean, mean coaching machine, Heidi, and our newest supporter Adam. It's pretty cool how long that list is getting. That's actually really cool. Thank you so much for your financial support. If you want to donate, you can donate for as little as 99 cents a month, and all your donations go towards making this a better experience for all of you listeners and viewers out there. Link in the show notes, link in the description. But for those looking for the best free way to support the podcast, all you have to do is share the podcast. Send it to a friend, send it to another coach, and the other best way, post it on your social media. And by sharing it on your social media, you are entered to win a free coaches training with me. And speaking of a free coaches training with me, it's episode 100. So that means we have a winner. And our episode 100 winner is Crafting with Callie. Guys, I can just tell when someone really, really wants to win because Callie has found every excuse to post and share the podcast. She's like, I love this about the pod. I love this. And she posts every day. It was obvious that she was going to win. I actually just got done with my training with Chloe from Twistars, and that was an absolute blast. Can't wait to meet Callie and her staff and everyone a part of their gym so we can do our training. If you would like to win a free coaches training with me, all you have to do is take a screenshot of an episode of the podcast and post that on your Instagram story and then tag our Instagram in the post. That's it. Share the podcast on your story, tag the Let's Talk Cheer podcast in the post, and you are entered. The more shares, the more entries. Winner will be announced in episode 105. And I'm going to say this again. The more shares, the more entries. If you really want to win, you get your whole staff together and you guys share it like crazy. Someone is going to win. Why not you? I'm the cheer director at American Cheer, AKSC.com, sharing with you my life, running a program, managing a staff, coaching the athletes, and working with the parents. And on the other side of the microphone are three people who mean the world to me. I can't even tell you how much they mean to me. The coaches of CBU. And take 57, guys. Welcome to the Let's Talk Cheer podcast. And we're going to get through this. Here we go. Episode 100. Let's make it happen. Third time's a charm. Tami, tell the people who you are once again.
Yeah, once again. Jason, hi. Hey, thanks for having us. And my name is Tami Fleming, and I was the head cheer coach at California Baptist University from 2010 to 2019.
Boom. Moving right along, we're going to introduce ourselves to Olivia. Quick, Liv, tell the people who you are.
All right, so I'm Liv. I came to CBU in 2009. I was an athlete there, cheered for 5 years, then started as an assistant coach in 2015 and have been the CBU Cheer head coach since 2020.
Boom. And last, but certainly not least, Brandon Seagondollar, tell the people who you are and the roles you've played at CBU.
All right. My name is Brandon Seagondollar. It really seems like I've done this a few times, so I'm kind of a natural at this. So I was actually the assistant coach of California Baptist University from 2016 to 2020, and now I am currently the head stunt coach for the past 3 seasons.
There we go. You know, it's funny. The first time we did the recording, you're like, until 2022. And I was like, I don't think he started in 2022. And then you're like, and we've been on 3 seasons. I'm like, the math's not mathing.
The math's not mathing.
So I'm glad we did that one either. Over again. Since 2022, I was like, no, he's had stunt longer than that. Anyway, so we're having a good time. Let's make it happen. Guys, believe it or not, everyone that's listening to this, we have not made it past this point yet. So we are doing great.
Yeah, and that's a wrap. And that's all the time we have for this show.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed our time together. Yeah.
So let's start off with Tami. Tami, tell everyone, since you are, as Brandon coined this, Tami the goat, or the goat camp Tami. I can't remember which one it was, but you are the godmother of CBU Cheer. Actually, I am coining that. You are the godmother of CBU Cheer. So tell us about how you got started at CBU and just that story.
Yeah, my time at CBU was very much unexpected and quite honestly happened out of tragedy. The previous coach to me was Wendy Rice, and Wendy was one of my best friends, and she was the matron of honor in my wedding. I've known her for years, and sadly, in August of 2010, she was tragically killed in a car accident, very unexpectedly, and I had worked with her CBU team. I had done some choreography for them. And so I'd been kind of around CBU. Olivia was on that team. But once she passed away, there was no coach. And the athletic director, Dr. Micah Parker, at the time, I was the only other name on the books for cheerleading because I had done choreography. So he contacted me and said, hey, is there anything you can do to come help us out for a month? and I agreed to come help out for a month. I was busy doing other things at the time. So I said I could do a month, absolutely, in honor of my friend. And a month was all it took for me to fall in love with the program and the girls, and the loss that they had suffered, I had also suffered too. And I just loved being around them. And my accidental journey to start with CBU in 2010 led me to many future seasons with them, nine years.
Yeah.
So it was all happenstance, but God had a plan, and that's where I was meant to be. So at the time I was coaching All-Stars. I owned an All-Star gym in 2010. So that 10-11 season, I was coaching All-Stars. I was running that gym, and I was also coaching out at CBU. And then in 2011, I just decided CBU was the right place for me. And I sold my gym and got out of All-Stars and started doing college cheer full time.
Yep. There we go.
There we go.
All right. So now let's move to Liv. Liv, so you're on the team when Wendy passes. So what was that experience like as an athlete, like literally losing your coach?
Yeah. I mean, and we still talk about it now, how crazy it is that we just got back from camp. We just spend 2 days together, summer practices, went to camp, and then we come home, and then the next thing we know, we don't have a coach, which is kind of crazy, not knowing what was going to happen with that. But there was I don't know, I guess a lot of growth as a team that came from that. I mean, we didn't have a coach, and for some reason that team was like, yeah, we're going to have practice on that grass over there. And I'm pretty sure when Tami came for her interview, she saw us walk up, and we were like ready for practice, and we look at her because we know who she is, and she looks at us, and we're like, what are we doing here? But we're like running laps and doing jumping jacks, no direction, but we just knew we wanted to do something. Yeah. But like Tami said, she was a blessing in disguise because we had all lost something and something in common. And so we just grew so tight out of that tragedy. And yeah, I think had a purpose to almost bond us, I guess you could say. But yeah, it was a crazy experience, not knowing where we were going to end up or who we were going to get, or I don't know, just grieving as a team. I feel like not many sports teams experience a loss like that together. So when that does happen, it really brings the team together and made us super close that year.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to skip over Brandon. So, Brandon, we're going to get to you, but I'm going to go back to Tami real quick. So, Tami, that first year, you're balancing, West Coast, you have CBU Cheer, you just lose your best friend, and now you have a program full of girls who just lost their coach. So, what were some of your biggest challenges that season? Just name some of your biggest challenges that you had that season.
It was that new assistant coach, wasn't it?
New.
Yeah, he was a handful, I bet.
Man,
he was that first year. I definitely was a handful.
Well, I think when I came in 2010, I didn't have any intention of coaching college cheer. That was never something that I'd kind of set my sights on. And I knew when I first came in, I wasn't going to be able to do it alone because I still was running my All-Star gym full time. We had 14 competitive teams that year. It was just crazy busy. We had world's teams, and this was before the summit, but so we were busy there. And so, yeah, one of my biggest obstacles is that I needed an assistant coach, and I didn't know anybody that was going to drive to Riverside to do this with me. And so I called up another gym owner friend of mine at the time, Kelly Elliott, down at PCM. And I said, hey, do you have anybody that you know of that might be interested in assistant coaching? And, thankfully, Kelly said, actually, I know this guy. He just moved back from Texas. He's looking for a job. He's probably perfect for it. He knows about college cheer. And I was like, great. And as you remember, you and I spoke on the phone. We'd never even met face to face. I said, great, you're coming in for an interview. And you met with Dr. Parker, and we basically hired you on the spot because I just needed help. And I didn't know anything about you or who you were or your background. And again, I think God just had all the pieces fall into place because you were a perfect fit for what we were building or what we ended up building. That wasn't the original intention. But I think the other big challenge was just healing. I was mourning the loss of my best friend, and I had this group of girls who were all mourning the loss of their beloved coach. And Wendy had been there for a few years. So the girls had a relationship with her, and just all of us going through that process together was hard. I had days where I missed her and they had days where they missed her. And we did such a great tribute to her that year. And you were instrumental in that tribute.
Wendy, this is for you.
Basically dedicated the nationals routine to her and, ended it in the formation of a cross and just talked about how we were doing it all for Wendy. And I just think overcoming and healing from that loss for all of us was one of the biggest obstacles we had that year, while still honoring her, what she had started to build and honoring what she had done for the program. So,
yeah. All right. So now let's move on. Let's get to Brandon Seagondollar. I know, Brandon, we had the tough job being in there, all these ladies, no one understands us.
You say one thing
But,
and they don't hear it.
Yeah.
Tami has to be
Brandon,
the voice of reason.
She did. She had to be the voice. She had to just translate for me all the time.
No, he meant to say
So
this.
true.
I was like, that's what I said.
That's exactly what I just said.
So true.
And it's funny because the girls would like pick on us, or at least they did to me. I'm not sure what they did to you, but they would like gang up because I was like the sole like guy right in the program. So it's like all the girls would gang up and like Jason. I'm like, man, come on. Anyway, so Brandon, like Tami, you start CBU Stunt, the stunt team, the stunt program. So what was your experience like just building a program like from the beginning, basically?
Yeah, I mean, there was a good legacy. Obviously, we dabbled in it with cheer. So we kind of had like a baseline. But I would say that none of us really had an understanding of what it all entailed. But it definitely all derives back from, having great foundation from cheerleading and the support of the university. But once they decided to make the split and having stunt as its own entity and cheer as its own entity, it was extremely hard. We had just found out that Tami was resigning and it was her last season. The university wanted to go in different directions, and that was a challenge. I remember being presented the opportunity to be the head stunt coach, and I had to take a week. Told Dr. Parker I needed to come back because it was a huge decision to leave something that I love, cheerleading, that we've been successful in, that's like set in stone, and go to something that we really didn't know much about and or really invested a lot of time and effort into. And it was a challenge to kind of take away some creativity, but have another strategy. So I remember actually going on campus and going to like the area, the chaplain, where you can pray. And I just sat there praying. And I walked into Dr. Parker's office a week later, and I didn't have an answer. Sat down, and basically God just made me say yes. And so I really contribute that to him, and him being able to put me in that role and knowing like, hey, this is where you're going to be. This is the path. And this is, remember what you came from, but here you go, get to start this future and the legacy of CBU Stunt.
There we go. Dude, super cool, man. All right, Liv, we're moving on to you.
All right.
Liv, you started off as an athlete, 2009. You are still at CBU. You've played all these different roles in the program. But when did you know that you're like, you know what? I grew up in this program. When did you decide that you actually wanted to be a career coach? And like that was going to be the next step for you?
Yeah, I feel like we've all talked about like it's just a God thing, how we've been placed in the positions where we are. Because I don't know if I ever like made that decision, like this is what I'm going for, I think in grad school, they were like, hey, there's a grad assistant position open. Liv, you'd be good for it. Sure, I'll do that. And then it was, hey, we have a part-time coach position open. Liv, you'd be great. Sure, I'll do that. And it's like doors just kept opening up here at CBU and opportunities were provided. And I don't know, it's pretty easy when you love something and you love the program and you know the program and you've helped build it. Like, of course, let's continue it on. So yeah, I think when I was in high school, I never went to college and said, how do I major in coaching? But I think just continuing to learn along the way, and obviously having great coaches in your network, you start to become a career coach, as long as you continue to learn and you love what you do and work hard at it, continue to get better. I think that's what makes a career coach,
There we go. Good
Yeah.
stuff, people. All right, guys, we're going to get to our first break, but when we come back, it's going to get real. I'm just telling you that right now. See you in 30 seconds. Hey, Let's Talk Cheer podcast listeners. I need to tell you about the #1 All-Star Cheer Conference this summer. I'm going to be speaking at it as a guest speaker, so you already know it's going to be fire. The Next Gen Summer Conference will be in Dallas June 23rd through the 25th. This conference is perfect for everyone in your gym. There will be skills classes for the coaches, leadership and management classes for the directors, and business classes for the owners. Guest instructors will include myself, Jason Larkins, Romel Osuna of World Cup, Adam Forte of Forte Spirit Solutions, and the whole crew from Next Gen. Make sure to head on over to ngconferences.com to register today. And we are back. So like I said, we're gonna get into some of these real questions. I'm gonna toss out a couple softballs at first, and then we'll get real. So let's go ahead. Let's start with Tami. Tami, give me your proudest or some of your proudest moments being a part of CBU Cheer.
Ooh, man. So many proud moments. Okay, you're going to laugh because now looking back, I mean, hindsight's 2020, right? Looking back now, this was so not a big deal. But at a time for us, it was like the biggest deal ever. So it's 2011, and CBU Cheer has never won a gold bid to nationals. And we are working. We're saying, okay, at camp, all we want is the gold bid. This is it. This is all we got to get, because then we get to stay in the Hilton. And it's like
The Hilton.
the only thing we want to do is get this gold bid, and we're working. And like, honestly, I think it was 2011, right? It was our first time taking the girls to camp. We focused on that gold bid. We worked our butts off for it. And when they announced, we were the last team, I think, that they announced for it. And when they announced CBU Cheer getting the gold bid, Jason, you jumped up and ran a circle around at the top of the gym. We were like at UNLV. And you would have thought we won nationals. The girls were like crying and jumping up and down. And we were like, we got a gold bid for national. And it was like this moment for me where I realized, okay, we could do something here. Like, this kind of began this, like, if we really set our minds to it and we work on it, we can accomplish these goals that at one point we thought were unimaginable, you know? And then eventually we got to nationals, you know, back in 2012. We then went to nationals 2012. And like, again, for a team previously in years past that had never even made it to finals, and now we've like made it to finals and we've done all the thing, you know, I think about another proud moment. That second place at .05 became such a legendary moment for our program, and we referred to it. We still talk about .05. That second place win in 2012 defined so much for our program moving forward, how we were going to work, what we could do, and how close we were to achievement. And then, of course, in 2013, winning the first national title for the program ever, you know, was another proud moment. But I think those small little wins, that journey to get there, those moments that were like, okay, we can do this, those were proud moments for me, even sometimes more than the victory, just the realization that it could actually happen. So
yeah, for sure. Liv, let's hear it.
That's a hard one. That's a hard question, especially since, like Brandon said, well, I don't know if this was in take 1 or take 72, which he said it in the intro. I've been here for 72 years, you know? So like, there's so many times I've been proud. You know, I would say as a coach, so the first year, Tami was still coaching here, but she had kind of said like, Liv, take the lead on gold, right? And then it was Brandon and I coaching gold pretty much on our own. And I think at Showcase, when gold hit for the first time, and it was the first time that like Tami was not coaching them, and it was like, okay, like we did this, like we did this. And it wasn't just, you know, me as like Tami's faithful sidekick, which I love playing that role, Tami, don't get me wrong, but it was like Tami didn't do this, and Brandon and I put this routine together, and like they looked like CBU cheer on the floor. And I think that was like the
Mm-hmm.
first time as a coach where I was really like, all right, like I can do this. Like, let's keep it going.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but yeah, as an athlete, I would say before you guys, so like Tammy said, CBU cheer was relatively a new program, had never won anything, had never done anything, you know what I mean? But my first year, before you guys had gotten there, was the first year we ever made it to finals. And like we had vets on the team that were like taking off their tape after prelims. They were, all right, we're ready to go home now. And then they announced us that we moved on to something in Challenge Cup. Remember that? And then we won Challenge Cup, and we said we just made it to finals. We didn't even care what we did in finals, but we won Challenge Cup, and I think that was like the first of the first, you know, even back
Yeah.
before we won anything. We
Yeah,
placed
before the
10th,
winning.
but we made
Yeah.
it to finals. Yeah.
That's cool. All right, Brandon, let's hear it, man.
Man, there's so many memorable moments that have impacted me as a coach and as a person, and kind of helped build my faith and relationship with God. But I'm going to have to refer to the win. I'm going to say my first year that I came aboard, it was a challenging season for sure. Tami had just gone out on maternity leave. I'm this brand new assistant coach. I'm like a full blown, assistant coach, not just of a club team or of an all-star team. It's like of college athletes, and I'm trying to figure it out and just struggling. I'm drowning. Me and Liv are like trying to figure things out as we go. Tammy's trying to call us and help us, and it's like it was a battle. So then that first year when they announced our names to win, and hopefully Emily doesn't watch this episode, but I cried like a little baby, and that was like the hardest I've ever cried, except for the wedding, if my wife watches this. Yeah, that was amazing, and I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't. It was great. That was like my first national championship. All these years that I've put in with this sport and stuff like that, that was kind of it. And then to put the icing, the cherry on the top is the next day, a group stunt won group stunt national championship too. And I spent a ton of extra time and effort working with those athletes and spending time and helping them put together, this great routine that just hit. And I remember vividly watching like Louisville go up there and be the last one. And I was like, we just won.
Yeah.
We went back up on stage and they announced our name, and it's awesome. And now one of those athletes that won that group stunt is my assistant coach now. So it's really cool, the relationships and bonds that are formed,
Like good stuff. I was trying to think because I didn't really think about the answer that I would give for this question. But Tami, you bring up a really good one with that first year we won the paid bid. Yeah. That paid bid was just, it's funny because you remember me like running around the girls. I remember you like there's a good video and they announce us and you go sprinting onto the floor and you're like, woo! I'm just like, man, dude, that first paid bid was great. That really was. That was a really cool moment for us because it was the beginning of like, dude, we can do something with this program. Like we can do something. And I'm like, guys, we're making this happen. And I remember like, cause those early years, I'm like pretty fresh out of college at this time. Yeah. So I'm still like connected with like the athletes, right? Or with like the NCAA staff people. Like these are all people I knew. And so I'm like, girls, you better not go out there and embarrass me in front of these people. And so I had like so much like pride on the line when we go there. And when we won that, it was just such a cool moment. And then obviously the first year we won nationals was just epic. It was just so cool because we put in so much work and, we were this D2 Christian school that no one's ever heard of. And, and we're just putting in work with a bunch of girls who just believed that we could actually make it happen. And when it actually happened, it was just crazy. So yeah, when they announced us in first place, when they announced second place, I just remember just being like, dude, we did this thing. Yeah. So that was super cool. Yeah. All right, Liv, I think you asked us this question months ago.
Okay.
So we're going to start with you. What is your all-time favorite CBU cheer routine?
Oh, I did. Oh, man. Man, that is tough. I think 2016 was pretty legit. I think that's when I was like, oh, we're doing something here. Like we're pretty legit. We always say like CBU Cheer, we're gonna be the hardest working team in the nation. We're gonna be the cleanest
Wait, my
team.
last year?
Yeah. When I came into practice and saw that, I don't know, it's probably still Ray at that point, that they were dragging T Henny on the floor and then she was gonna do a toe full, hand full. I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
That's pretty entertaining. I'd also say, see, that's hard. Guys, this year's routine is pretty legit. So I feel like I can't talk about it yet because no one's seen it, but I do like the way this routine looks. And if it comes together the way it's supposed to, 2023 might be up there for me. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Love it. Brandon, let's hear it, man.
All right. This one lives rent-free and it has nothing to do with me, but I remember one of Gold's showcases where I think, Jason, you had people jumping into people's arms and like people doing round-offs and then flipping people out and tumbling things through. That was always how my brain worked. It reminded me of like the living inside my brain, like just going crazy. I think I was actually with UC Santa Barbara at that time, and we like knew each other, and you like gave me the iPad. You're like, hey, will you go film for us up there? And like I was up there like filming it, and I was like, oh, this is legit. And this is pre me even knowing I was going to be at CBU. So to be honest, it was that Gold routine that was just like super innovative, and like, and to now come find out that, you know, they put in extra time and effort from games to doing that. It's even more memorable in my mind.
I think that's Gold 2016. I think that's the one you're talking about. Sam Barone like does like lays flat and then they flip her over and then
they flipped over and she tumbles out. That was
exactly
legit. And because I was up in the stands, like, what is going? This is awesome.
That's when we had like 37 people on Gold. There were a million people on the floor.
So impressive,
dude. And it's so cool to see. Well, I'm gonna say Gold, but it's so cool to see how far Gold has come as a team. You know, because Tami, Liv, you kind of remember this, but you weren't on. I mean, you were an athlete at the time, but when Tami and I first started coaching Gold, those girls were rough,
dude. We couldn't pay people to be on that team. We were like, please stay.
Yeah, we had some rough. It was some lean years for sure. So when we go and I come back for showcase and see Gold's routine, and I'm like, oh man, they got like kids that have like real skills on this team, because we had Maxine on the team who was a former wrestler.
She'd never cheered before. She had never cheered
Never,
before.
ever.
Never.
Yeah.
Oh man. We had some cross-country kids on the team.
Jason came to a game last season and he goes, yeah, we sure weren't doing this when I was coaching Gold. I was like, yeah. We were doing like pull arounds or something like at the game. And he's like,
yeah, like low to highs and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. I was like, dude, Gold, we were really happy with preps. We really were like, hey guys, y'all killed it out there. So, but there's some good Gold kids out there.
Yeah, but you know what I say?
Tam.
You know what I love
go ahead.
about Gold?
Go ahead. Yeah.
You know what I love about Gold? And this is what I grew to love about that program. And obviously it grew a lot. I think there was like 12 girls maybe on that team when we first started. And obviously we grew that into a much bigger program. I love that those girls and the end of the year performance that they did at the showcase every year is just such a shining example of this, because those girls were never given the opportunity to compete. And even though we fought that battle every year and tried so hard to get the permission to take them to a competition, they just loved the sport so much that they were willing to put in the time and effort to do this routine that was really just for their friends and family at the showcase. It wasn't like there was no trophy at the end. There was no glory for what they were doing. They just loved the sport so much that they wanted to show off their hard work. And that's what I loved so much about the Gold routines at the showcase. There was just so much passion in them, because they're like, we just want to show everybody what we can do and what we love to do, knowing full well that there was no reward, no award at the end of it, you know? And I mean, what an incredible journey that basically is now the white team, and that team does get to travel and go to competitions and show off what they're doing. And then the Golden Girls have held that game status where they get to go and be in front of a real legitimate D1 crowd. Because let me tell you, you guys will remember cheering in front of the crowd in the Van Dyne gym was not nearly as rewarding as it is in the event center, you know, and now they're like legitimate college athletes cheering in front of a legitimate college event, you know, in a legitimate college arena. Like it just, it's incredible, you know?
So real quick, I want to get off course real quick before we have Tami answer her favorite routine. Liv, why was it so important to you to have the two competitive programs? Because that was always obviously up in the air, and Tami and I never moved forward with it, but that was like really important to you when you became the head coach. So why was that so important to you to have this second competitive team? True story. When I was a kid, my sister would practice her back handsprings down the hill on the side of our yard. Back then, buying mats from Tumble Track was not an option. But now you can step your tumbling game up with a folding incline mat by Tumble Track. Start perfecting those rolls, kickovers, handsprings, and tucks with these cheese wedges that come in 3 different sizes and 3 bold colors. Get ready to flip, twist, and tumble like never before with the safety of an incline mat by Tumble Track. Link in the description.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, I mean, you guys know, you try to fight that battle before. It's not that those girls were not skilled or talented enough to compete by any means. Our program just grew so much, and not just by numbers, but by skill as well. And I think that there were girls that could go somewhere else and make a competitive team, go to a different college, that weren't given the opportunity to compete at CBU. But they love CBU and they love cheering here and they love our program and what we're about. And I think just being able to showcase that and give those people that opportunity as well, was important, and that they could go out there and compete if they wanted to and have that opportunity. And then I think with Gold competing now, so actually all 3 teams compete. Gold competes in game day divisions as well. I think also the pandemic and shutting down and things was able to make that opportunity happen. Virtual competitions, as much as they were a struggle, was a blessing in disguise, because that kind of opened the door to say these divisions are available and we're not cheering at any basketball games with fans. So let us show off what we can do as well and just continue that legacy in the game day divisions also. Everything that we do at such a high level here. So being able to show off what we do in the intermediate division and advanced and in game day, I think it's great because it provides, again, those athletes that were willing to be here and for little reward, I guess, as far as competition goes. Now they have those opportunities.
Yeah. Love it. All right, Tam, let's hop over to you. Favorite CBU cheer routine?
Man, that is so hard for me. That's so hard for me. I really, I know I guess it's one of the more recent ones. I really actually loved our 2019 routine. The first year we competed D1. I loved all the, all hail the new queens of D1. I really loved making that jump because it was really the biggest challenge I felt like we could have risen to at that point. But I also really loved that moment in the 2017 routine where we counted down the 5 golden rings and the girls all dropped 5 hats. This year we're taking home, and the girls dropped 5 hats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 golden. Pull ups, perfect. Get at the top, no shakes, no bobbles. That was like legendary, that 5 golden rings moment. I love that moment. I love them all. I loved ending the first year's routine in 2011 with the cross on the floor. I loved the first year we won. There's so many memories from each routine, but so it's hard to nail it down to my favorite of all time. Yeah.
That 2017 routine, I really liked. What was her name? I can't remember her last name. Ashley Douglas, maybe?
Douglas.
And I remember she was the far right stunt.
Yes.
And when that 5 golden rings part came up, she did the head nod. Yes. And it was like so cool. She's like, yo, we're about to nail this. And it rippled. And it was just so cool. Like I did really like that routine. Me personally, I'm a sucker for 2014. It was, I think after 2014, like after we won the second time, like I just wanted to push the boundaries. And I'm like, dude, we should try this. We should try this. And so we got not as clean as we as we once were like in the early days, but I felt like 2014 for me was like the best combination of our cleanliness while I was there, of our cleanliness and our difficulty and just hitting great routines, like, you know, great cheerleading. So
I do think though,
Yeah, but-
2020 needs a special shout out because that
Yeah,
routine
I was gonna say that
so
too.
good.
Yeah.
They were
And
good.
it was
Shout
like
out to 2020.
Yeah, it never got its full chance to make this list, but it was a good routine.
Time in the light.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good one. Shout out
Very
to
good. Good
2020
stuff.
kids.
All right, here we go. Let's start. I gotta start with Tami on this because we're gonna have the most in common answers probably. Tami, should we start with the good, the bad, the ugly? All right, Tami, give me who are your favorite. Yeah, give me your favorite athletes of all time. And no, they are gonna be listening to this, so you're on the spot, Tam.
Wait, coach.
Gotta do it.
Gotta read McKnight for Tami.
Coach,
I feel like we need to
cannot-
rephrase this question. Yeah. It needs to be
Okay.
like a
is-
top greatest CBU cheer. I don't know, but it
This
can be a
isn't-
favorite.
Still
This is
coaching
not
some of
fair.
those
No,
athletes.
favorites. It's
This is
straight
not
up
fair.
favorite
I don't know-
athlete.
I don't know if I can answer this. I decline to answer because you know what?
She declines to answer. Okay, I'll give you
Everybody
this one.
watching this knows who your favorite is, Tami. You don't even have to.
They do.
Here, we'll go with this
Oh
one.
my!
Liv.
Oh,
Well, Brandon already said it.
huh?
Marina McKnight.
Yeah, I love Kat. I mean, I love Kat. And part of the reason
Love Cat.
part of the reason I love Kat is because I've known her since she was 10 years old. So I think she's a talented kid, but I've also watched her grow up, literally be from a small little girl to, a grown adult and now married. I mean, and so, yeah, of course I have a relationship with her that maybe is deeper than the kids that I met right when they got out of high school. But I don't like to play favorites or pick one particular kid that I like more than others because at various times I've liked them all for different reasons and been angry at them all for different reasons. I mean, I love Callie McCabe, but she made my life miserable when I was coaching her half the time because it was hard, right? But I still love her. She's a wonderful kid and she has learned a lot by being in the program. And I'm thankful that she had the opportunity to be with us because I think she really needed CBU cheer in her life in order to become who she is today. But
Yeah.
but I do. I love Callie. I love Kat. I love Ronnie. I mean, Ronnie is not the most talented kid we ever had in the program. Girl couldn't do a back handspring, but she worked hard and she had a good attitude. And, I can go through a list of a bunch of them from various different years and give you reasons why there were days I wanted to throw them out of the cheer room or out of the box and reasons that I love them regardless. So it's hard to pinpoint.
Well, let's go here then.
5 favorites.
We'll go here. If you don't want to name
I would edit
your favorites, tell us besides Callie, who else just drove you absolutely nuts?
Coach. Why you make my
You have
me
to,
out on all
coach.
this?
Yeah. Because you're the only one that's not like Liv is still in the program, so she's gotta stay reserved. But you're good. You're out there.
I can call out these girls because they know, and then
Yeah.
they know that I love them, and they know that there's been moments. Callie McCabe gave me a run for my money. Alyssa Lujan gave me a run for my money. Angelica Salceda gave me a run for my money. Yes, he's Brandon
Concrete.
because he knows, right? He knows. Trying to think.
Concrete.
Concrete.
Cement.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
just a coffee mug. But I love these kids. Even though
Tacos and
we went
memories.
through the ups and downs, I still love these kids, And any 3 of those girls, I would wrap my arms around and give a giant hug to and say, hey, kid, I love you tons. I mean, Jill was I hired Jill this last year, Angelica, to be the lifeguard at my daughter's 6th birthday party because we had a little swim party. And and that's part of the thing, too, is that I feel like coaching college, we build these relationships with these girls who are becoming young women. And so, I can give you over and over and over again girls that are in my life still because Laurel True Love does my hair. I go to her because she became a hairdresser and she does my hair now. And like I said, I hired Angelica to be a lifeguard at my daughter's swim party. I mean, I've had Caitlin Nugget, little Caitlin Statham, and she, came and decorated for my daughter's birthday party in the years past. And Brianna Cromes and Bailey Velasquez and Samantha Lee, they've all been babysitters and nannies for my child. Brandon's wife was a nanny for my kid. I mean, these are like lifelong relationships that I've built. Devin Leal, she came and was a nanny for my kid. I mean, they're lifelong relationships with young women. They're not just kids we get for a year of cheer and then never see them again. And so it's hard, again, to pick the ones that I don't like and the ones that I do like because...
Oh, I didn't say don't like. I just who drove you nuts.
The ones that gave me a run for my money. Yeah. Well, there was a lot.
I liked them
them
all, but
but
Jordan Lee's. No, I'm just joking. I love Jordan. Shout out to Jordan.
Oh, Jordan Lee. That girl. Talk about a run for your money. Jordan Lee's.
Liv, do you have what it takes to answer either one of those questions?
Do I have it? Yes. Will I volunteer that information? No.
All right, Brandon, we're counting on you, man.
Man, you know what? I could, and I would love to.
You're still in the game.
I have to be reserved. I'm still coaching them right now to this day.
Still in the game.
Like Tami said, man, it's like some of these girls did not like me as an assistant coach, and now I'm their head coach, and they love me. So it's just watching them grow and develop, and just seeing how awesome they get to be. And there's definitely kids where we butted heads, but then they come back and they're like, oh wow, you actually understood me a little bit more. And I even remember vividly Evan coming up. It was her third year, my second year coaching, Evan, my assistant coach, coming up and being like, hey, why don't you like me? What, you have something against me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I don't, not at all. And now we have a great relationship and we're assistant coach, and I always reference back to that. So yeah, it's hard to pick your favorites.
I think also, like Tami said, there's some people that were rough, but they needed CBU cheer in their lives, and by the end of it, they were great, better people because of it. They became adults, So I could probably talk more about the people that give me the run for money, but favorites, that's a lot harder. What if I'm coaching them right now? See, yeah we can't answer that question.
I'm coaching one of my favorites right now. So,
hey, who did give you a run for your money?
Well, okay, this is the hard part too about coaching where you cheered, because of course I have my littles who became my grand littles, who became my great grand littles. So then when people started to get in trouble and they were in my family, they were like my great grand littles, Tami would always look at me like, why are your people in my office? It's not my fault. I don't control that. But yes. Yeah. I mean, you guys gave a good list of people who were great CBU cheerleaders that also give a run for the money while they were in the program.
There you go.
Madison Corsello could also be added to that list.
Oh,
Stevie Grinke, if we're going to add that in there.
Yeah, I mean,
shout out Stevie.
I was throwing out there. Well, before we get off, let me just shout this kid out real quick. Stevie Grinke. Just all Stevie. Shout out to Stevie.
God, you know what though? You know what I love about Stevie? She might possibly be, in the 4 years that we had her, the athlete I saw the most growth in my entire time that I was there. She was a completely different person when she left CBU than she was when we first got her. And I mean, I have countless stories about my time with Stevie, and just so much talent there and so much growth that we saw. Of all of my years, she is probably the one athlete I can say I really literally watched her change in the 4 years of her time. And she's a wonderful young woman, and she's gone on to do wonderful things, and she's super smart, always has been. But I think she would also say that CBU cheer helped mold her to who she is today,
Yeah.
And I think I love Stevie. She's awesome. You know, I'm so glad we
Yeah.
had the opportunity to make that difference in her life.
It was cool. I just saw Stevie. I was at Shelby's wedding. So who was there? Stevie and Luhan and Callie McCabe.
Larry was probably there.
Gary was there. Yeah. And then who's the other one? Haley was there. And so it was a fun little group there. And it just reminded me of it actually has me really looking forward to homecoming coming up this week. So because we're there with them, and it's funny how much they've changed, but how much they haven't changed. Right. And just how you're the same exact kid you were, 10 years ago, but you're completely you're different now. So anyway, I want to hop into this. Tami, you and I are there together, CBU, and we're going, and we really had a partnership. Like you did a fantastic job, like always making me feel like you're equal, although you were the head coach and I was the assistant coach, and I always appreciated that about you and our relationship. And you let me like voice my opinion and do all these things, and eventually I take the job here in Bakersfield at American, and it's kind of like I remember just like your nervousness of this new journey without me. So that first year, tell me about that first year, like doing the program, without your Robin, to your Batman. Owners, directors, coaches, we are in comp season now. So if you're looking for a second set of eyes as you're gearing up for your big events, I'd love to help out. You send me a video of your routine, and I send you a video back of your routine with what I would fix and how I would fix it. Teams I've done this for have gone on to be world champions, NCAA All-Star champions, NCAA Collegiate champions, Summit champions, and D2 Summit champions. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, you can reach me via email at Jason Larkins, or you can reach me on Instagram at Jason Larkins, or on the Let's Talk Cheer podcast Instagram, Let's Talk Cheer podcast.
Haha. Gosh, when you left, it was terrifying. I think because we had started the journey together, I really didn't know it without you. And I think we have a really good respect for each other. I did always want to hear your opinions. We argued a lot, and we didn't always agree on which way to go. But I think that helped build our relationship, because we felt comfortable enough to say what we really felt and say what we thought. And sometimes we went your way, and sometimes we went my way. And so when you made the choice to leave, it was like, I've never really done this without this person by my side to kind of bounce the ideas off of, and how are we going to do this without him? Olivia has been like the consistent one. We've always had Olivia. She's been an athlete. She's been an assistant coach. She's been a grad assistant. She's been a full-time coach. And so like having some consistency with Liv is great. But I remember that first, because you left in what year did you leave? You left in 2016. 2016. And then Brandon, you came in that fall of 2016, right? So
correct.
So we just had kind of that summer. And I remember, Brandon, because you were at camp that summer, but you weren't actually a CBU coach yet. So I remember, Jason left, and I was pretty scared, but I knew we needed to have some help. And I just felt like we needed somebody in the program that had a good background. And, obviously people interviewed for the program, and Dr. Parker had some ideas of what he really wanted and was kind of pressuring me in which direction to go and what he was really looking for. And Brandon came along, and he had such a history in cheer. He knew so much about it, and that was a really good addition. And the thing that I liked about coaching with Brandon is that he kind of gave me the same challenge that you did. Brandon and I would stand for hours outside after practice debating, well, we should make this change in the pyramid, or we should do this for the elite, or we should add this or that. And I mean, Liv would go home and she'd be like, all right, guys, see you later. And we would stand outside. And do you remember and this is when we weren't allowed to park on campus. We would walk
across the street.
corner, across the street, and we would stand out there for an hour and just discuss what we had just been doing for the previous 4 hours. And like having that.
We would call each other after that.
Yes. Having that familiar banter, that familiar disagreement and agreement and seeing things the same way and having somebody to bounce those ideas off of. Sometimes Brandon had great ideas and sometimes I had great ideas, and kind of merging those felt very familiar because that's what you and I had done for so long. But I remember that first year winning without you, just this feeling of like, okay, I did this without Jason. Like I had other people that I could lean on and talk to that were great but this doubt that I had that I wasn't sure I could do it without Jason, I was able to like sit back and say, I can do this without Jason. And then we just, the Brandon, Liv, and Tami train just went to slaughter for the next couple of years and we were great together. I mean, it just was scary. The unfamiliar is scary for that first time, and I definitely missed you, but we went on. We loved it. Well, and I still called you.
But, hey, onward.
Yeah.
Yeah, you call. Hey, once a week. Yeah. We were talking. Don't listen to those guys. Tami, do it this way.
Don't listen to those guys.
That was just a joke. I'm just joking.
No, it wasn't.
No, I remember.
They don't know what they're talking about.
I even remember being at nationals that year, and you came and you were backstage and you were helping, and like we had already decided if this wasn't going to work, this is what we were going to do. And I remember you telling me, Coach, you have got to take that out. Why are you leaving this in? And I was like, oh my gosh, we've already discussed this. Brandon and Liv already have a plan, but it was like, there's such a team behind CBU Cheer, whether you are a formal coach or not, just everyone wanting this best for the program. And, I mean, I think it's just, even to this day, even I'll go and I'll call Liv, hey, how's it going? What's happening with the team? And I don't know if it helps you, Liv, at all to know that people still care. We still care about the program and you, and, so I just, I still watch Stunt, I never really coached Stunt, but I still get to watch them, the updates on Instagram. And when they win, I'm like, this is amazing. They're freaking unbeatable. It's crazy, Yeah. So, I mean, it's, I think hopefully good to know that people still care and there's still a group of people, the team behind the team, as we like to say.
Yeah, for sure.
And here's a shout out to you, Jason. Come full circle. You leave in 2016. I take over, which you and I was around when you first got the job and how pumped up you are. And you were talking about the Justin Timberlake song. We're going to point to the east and we're going to do a jump. And like we were at Applebee's right down the road and you were so pumped. And you're like, we're going to waffle stomp these fools and we're going to create a dynasty and so pumped. And then I take off to University of Hawaii. I come back, work at UC Santa Barbara, which we're working for the same company at the time, PCM. And I find out like you're moving to American. And I'm like, okay, cool. I apply for it. I talk to you. And I end up getting the job. And then it's funny because under my keyboard is this little note from Jason Larkins that I still have and keep in my thing about how much he cares about the program, talking about the girls and stuff like that. That it is just like a family and one person comes in and it's the next machine behind the machine and it just keeps going forward. So, but I just got to keep reading this note you sent me and you didn't even know it was going to be me. And now it's on your podcast.
No idea. Yeah, it's really crazy. I remember writing that note and having like no idea. Obviously, I had no idea who the next coach was going to be or when that person was ever going to find the note. Cause I hid it somewhere in the office and like, you had to like find it, And, so it's pretty cool that ended up being you, that you did find it like in a timely manner and, all that stuff. So good stuff. But Liv, I want to pass it on to you real quick. So then Tami, is no longer there and you have to have, and Brandon's gone. And so you have to have a solo win by yourself. So what was that like for you? You're like, same question, but your scenario.
Yeah, I think it's hard to like knowing the history that's behind it, knowing what's at stake and caring about it. because, I experienced what it was with the Tami Jason combo, and then the Tami Liv Jason combo, and then the Tami Brandon Liv combo. Like, I experienced all of that and knew what it could be. And so it's like almost this pressure to keep CBU Cheer. And plus, it was just a hard time. Tami basically says, like, Liv, you're the only person for this job. You have to be the head coach. I'm like, okay, sure. Take it on. And then the world shuts down. So it's like your first time being the head coach of this program. And, it's completely different. CBU Cheer, we're such a creature of habit. We have such structure that we love to live in. And then it just gets flipped upside down. And so I feel like last year was the first year we're really back to competing as we were. And then I have all these teams and I'm doing it by myself. And the first time we're showing white off to the world and we still have blue and we go to nationals and win. And I think it almost didn't hit me, I feel like I was just doing it by myself. So it was like head down, keep working until one of you guys called me and was like, Liv, you did this by yourself. And it was just the weight of that. I didn't even realize until I'm pretty sure the three of you guys all said it at different points. Like, you did this by yourself and was able to pull it off. So yeah, almost like a relief that I didn't let everyone down that's on this call and was able to keep it going.
I mean, I know I told you this, Liv, but I legit cried when you won last year. I legit cried. Like, I was just so proud and happy for you. Because that's hard. You grow up as an athlete in the program. And so, the standard that we had and kind of the legacy there. And then, like you said, it moves on to the Brandon, Liv, Tami, train without Jason. And then that's successful. And then, Brandon's there and then you're there by yourself. And it's like, man, I can only imagine like the pressure that you felt to continue to win, right? And the program's more than about winning, but there is that sense of like, well, the program does win a lot. And you not only took one team to nationals, but you take two teams to nationals that year, and they both come back victorious. And I just remember I was in Nashville at the time and trying to watch it on my phone. And yeah, when we won, it's still a we, I legit cried and I was just so happy I didn't think you'd pick up the phone. And I was like, Liv's far, she's big time now. She's not going to pick up the phone. And I called you. I just thought I was going to leave you a cool voicemail and you actually picked up and I was like, Liv, you did it. So super cool. And now we got to pass it to Brandon, man. So you go and you start the stunt program, right? Or, you're now the head coach of the brand new stunt program and you're doing it. Obviously you have Evan, but as the head coach, after, again, this legacy that's been built up on the cheer side, tell us about like that for you.
Yeah, man. I mean, that first year, both Liv and I were by ourselves. So that was a battle. COVID was crazy. But being able to try to take on a new sport was definitely a challenge, something that we didn't know much about or anything. And just our motto that year was be all in. And the girls were all in, bought into, only stunt and focusing on what we were going to create. And it's kind of cool to see because we're still constantly creating and evolving what CBU stunt looks like. Because it's so young in its varsity stage, we're able to continue to develop. What style do we like? What don't we like? What do we add in? What do we not? And a lot of the girls buy into that mentality of like, creating that legacy. And it only kind of just reminds me of, where CBU Cheer started of a legacy and how it was built upon years and years of people and stuff like that. So to be able to kind of do that in this form now and just stunt, it's been a challenge, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It's definitely right up my alley. I'm able to kind of be a little bit more aggressive and spirited on the sideline. And I've always kind of liked that. Sometimes I get too hyped, as you can see in some of the films, or jumping on Tammy's back or anything crazy like that. So now it's acceptable. So I feel like I'm in my element.
Yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to watch a CBU stunt game, watch the sideline for sure.
Yeah.
I was on CBU Confessions, and they were like, whoever is running the CBU Confessions account was like filming me and like, dude, this guy's more hyped than Coach Croy. He's lit.
Love it.
Coach Croy. Shout out to Rick Croy. There we go. All right, guys, we're going to get to a break, but when we come back, we're going to hear some of our best, funniest memories from CBU Cheer. Gym owners, do you find yourself working 100-hour weeks? And then did you know that being underpaid and undervalued is the #1 cause for owner burnout? The business coaches at Next Gen, some of my good friends, can help you get out of that rut. They, in fact, are gym owners themselves, so they've been in your shoes. The Next Gen coaches work alongside gym owners to help them grow their programs and build their profits. So if you want to learn more about how Next Gen can help you, book a call at nextgenowners.com. And we are back. So now let's hop into, I really want to hear, we've had so many great memories, and I was thinking about this last night. I'm not even sure which one of these stories I'm going to tell yet, but we'll see. I'm going to feel the vibe first and see how we're, some story to tell. But I know we all have got funny stories, some good memories. So Tami, start us off strong. Give us a funny, just great memory you have from CBU Cheer.
Okay, well, I know it's like, there's memories. They're memories, right? So I've got this one memory that I know you and Olivia are going to have a great laugh over, but we are still a pretty new team to showing up well at NCAA Nationals. And back in the day, there used to be
Get your girl, Jazz.
Get your girl. Back in the day, there used to be something called Meet the Mat. And so if you made finals, you got to go to Meet the Mat, and we had that great thing. But there was also an outdoor practice on the grass. And every year we would go and we would, you already know where I'm going. You already know where I'm going. And we would dress in uniform or some sort of great thing for grass practice. And this particular year, it was one of our first years. Jason, it might have been the first year. Jason has this great.
I think it was our first year. Yeah.
Jason has this great idea. Liv's laughing because she knows exactly what I'm saying. This great idea that instead of matching and having matching T-shirts for grass practice, we were going to do a theme. And we were going to tell all the girls that they could get whatever T-shirt they wanted as long as it was a California theme. So I was like, you know what? You know more about nationals than I do. You've been there more than I have. That's fine. We can go ahead and do that. So we tell all the college girls, everyone go out and buy your own T-shirt that has something to do with California. And we show up to that grass practice a hot mess. We've got girls wearing the California flag in like a stark white T-shirt. We've got girls with neon that says California down the side. No one is matching. They're all in different colors.
We got some Tupac shirts.
Yeah, we look like we just rolled out of a 3-hour practice back at home at the box. And and we're trying to pull together a nationals routine out in front of everybody on the grass. So that is one of my funniest core memories, because we were just learning so much. But man, Jason, I'm going to tell it to you now. It was a terrible idea. We never did it again. And I don't think we should ever replicate that. Man. So there you go.
I feel like it was a great idea, though. The idea, it sounds great.
Ouch.
But I remember looking at us and being like, no, we look like the Goodwill All-Stars right now. Everyone else is out there, they're matching uniforms. And, again, we have a kid wearing a Tupac shirt. Someone's wearing the Golden Gate Bridge because they're from NorCal. And I'm like,
it's horrible.
And man,
they were all cutting
good
them
stuff.
up. They cut the sleeves off and they were tying them up. They looked like rags. It's horrible. But you know what?
Man.
Good times.
Good times for sure. All right, Brandon, give us something.
Oh man. All right. So this is all of us. I don't know if it's funny or terrifying. So I think it was second year at Nationals. So 2018 maybe. We're in Daytona and it's just coming off of a crazy flood, right? Like a hurricane or something came through. That 2018 or 2019. Jason, you came with Ashley and we're all, it's our second year. We got to run it back. And I think it's our last year at, again in D2. And so we're trying to find a place to practice. We're going around and it's flooded outside, so we can't practice outside. And we're walking through the halls and there's cheerleaders laying everywhere. We're stepping over. We have the girls. And at some point, Tami puts it in my hands. And of course, I'm very small, so I can get into small places to go find a place to practice. And so I'm going around and I'm like Mission Impossible in it, going through this. And I see this door and I'm like, cool, I'm going to go through this door. Go through this door. And it just so happens to be the back of the house of like a kitchen and it's this hallway. And so I'm like looking around and I'm sneaking back into this dark hallway and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I see a chef walk by and I'm like, oh, hey, just playing it cool. And then I go back to like looking and I'm just like, oh, and I open this door and it's like the heavens opened up. It was this giant ballroom with high vaulted ceilings, just amazing. And I was like, Tami is going to love me. Tami, I'm going to be gonna like me more than Jason right now. I gotta do this. And so I run back. I go through the hallway and I'm running back and I run to Tami and I'm like, I found a place. Come on, follow me. And Tami's like, are you sure? Like, is it cool? And I'm like, yeah, there's no one there. The doors are locked. Come this way. Like, I found a right place to go. And we're bringing all the girls through and we're like, going through. We get through. We're there. We're practicing. We're jamming. Boom. We come back. We win. We have a great time. We're celebrating. We end up coming back home and then Bill Boggs emails Tami
Shut up.
video footage of Brandon walking and like sneaking around. Like, thank goodness they didn't catch me eating the leftover fries, like. And so then like we get in there and Tami pulls me in the office and she was like, hey, like, just to let you know, I de-escalated the situation, but like, here's video proof of you. And it's just me like caught red-handed, all the girls walking through. And I'm like, hey, someone could have stopped us at the time. So that's one of my funniest, scariest, funniest moments that I've had.
I forgot about that, Brandon.
There we go. I love it.
I love it. I love these stories. I love it.
That's a good one. All right, Liv, so give us your funny moments from CBU Cheer.
Okay, that's hard. Okay, first, let's cut it down to the early years because that was just a hilarious time in CBU Cheer. I feel like, okay, let me give you guys options and then you say which story we should talk about. Running around the mat with our 5th place trophy. Jasmine's reaction when we made finals, went straight through to finals.
That's a good one.
Sawing the ring off the finger.
Oh.
Or there's 5. When Madison Lees caught that pyramid by herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Aubrey got kicked in the throat.
No, it was Danielle.
It was Danielle, you're right.
I wrote that down too.
I guess that's the one then. That's the one.
It's so funny. It's only going to be funny to us because it's not like that funny of a story. It was just so hilarious in time. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh.
But go ahead.
Oh,
That
man.
story cracks me up.
It's not going to be that funny to anyone else.
You're right. It's not that funny, but oh man.
I'm
so glad.
Just so funny though.
Man, by the time this airs, homecoming would have already happened. And we're going to have another good laugh about this weekend when we're at CBU homecoming and all these people are there and we're going to be crying.
Yeah.
But man.
So let's do this. Tell the Danielle story because now I feel like everyone's like, well, what's the story? And then tell like the ring story.
Okay. So here's the story. We're at practice. It's in the box and we'll get to the box later in this next story. And there's a girl on the team. Her name is Aubrey. Was she filling in for someone? She wasn't originally in that spot, right? Or did her spot change? Something happened. There was a change being made, right? And Aubrey goes to tumble. Mind you, love you, Aubrey. Shout out to you. She wasn't doing anything intense. I think she was doing a cartwheel because that
it was literally a cartwheel.
It was literally a cartwheel. She goes to do a cartwheel, kicks Danielle in the throat. Danielle's stiff body face plants into the mat. Doesn't move, is out. Aubrey's sitting there. Danielle, panic is rising in her voice, starts to shake her. Danielle. That is a perfect picture of where CBU Cheer has come from. Danielle was
Oh my
fine.
gosh.
We're all fine. But that is a core memory of CBU Cheer.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it makes me
Danielle?
cry.
Danielle? Danielle? She was out. I was like, after she said Danielle the second time, I started to get worried too. I was like, wait, Danielle might be hurt.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm crying. Oh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Second story, Liv.
Okay. We practice. You've heard us refer to it as the box. Again, it was an old grocery store. We had our own facility, which was great. There's air quotes attached to that. But yes, it was an abandoned grocery store that CBU bought. We still had storage areas to the left, and the College of Engineering to the right. They would saw their projects. We would have wood chips flying through the air as we're running full outs, and we would joke, like, if you could do a full out with sawdust, you could do a full out anywhere. But we had this girl, and she was wearing a ring to practice, and she got hit in the finger. I don't know how you guys didn't catch her ring before we started, but that's besides the point. Anyways, her finger is swelling up, and she doesn't know what to do, and this ring is stuck on her finger. Luckily, there's this nice professor from the College of Engineering. We're like, hey, sir, her finger is going to be, what's decapitated, but in a limb. What do you call that?
Amputated.
We're going to amputate her finger with this ring. Can you help us out? He takes her finger, and the whole cheer team is watching this professor saw it off of her finger, and just takes the ring, detaches it, and we go back to practice about our business. But
there we go.
It was just that's where we came from, practice in the box.
One of the perks.
One of the perks
of
practicing
the box,
with
man.
in the storage room and with the College of Engineering.
Yeah, man. Those good times. All right. I think I might let you guys pick what story I tell.
Okay.
No, I have to tell that one. But we don't have time for all of these. But
sure we do.
We can man, we got some good ones. I'm gonna tell this one for sure. So this is one of the funniest moments at CBU for me is it's my and Tammy's first year. And we're running through the pyramid and or we're marking through the routine or whatever, and we say, hey, I think we say we're gonna mark through but do the pyramid. Now in the pyramid, I can't remember. I remember one of the flyers was Alyssa Roberts, and I can't remember who the other flyer was, but both those flyers are facing each other. Paint the story for everyone at home. Both those flyers are facing each other in the pyramid, and then they're both in preps, and one flyer would take the other flyer and throw her over her head, and then waiting on the other side were two bases who would catch Alyssa on the other side. And we're going through the routine. We start to get to the pyramid. And Camille was one of those catchers who caught Alyssa on the other side. And so we're going through the pyramid, and I can tell that Camille doesn't think we're doing the pyramid. She is not paying attention at all. And I see them dip and go to throw Alyssa. And I'm like, Camille's not there. Camille's not there. And so as they do it, I scream like a schoolgirl. I go, ah!
Jason, this is the exact story
like,
I was going to tell. Because this is Madison waiting in the back going, Camille! Yelling for her slow motion.
Yeah.
At least that's how I saw it.
I scream. The pyramid crashes down. And, everyone's eventually safe or whatever. But Tammy's like, all right, girls, bring it in. I know that was really scary. But girls, when something like that happens, you can't scream. And at the time, I was like, I just stood behind Tammy, like it was me. But I never said anything. I just was like, that's right, girls, you don't go screaming in the middle of a pyramid like that. And like years later, I was like, Tammy, I gotta admit, it was really me who screamed.
Wait, you guys, we have to tell the freezer story. We have to tell
I know. I wrote that down
the
too.
freezer story.
Oh
Man, I was
you guys,
pissed.
I'm
Guys, I
crying.
was hot. I was hot that day. I was
You
so
were.
mad.
You know,
Guys,
and
I think that's the maddest I've ever been as a coach. I was
Oh,
hot that day.
that's
you know what?
another one of
Man.
those stories that American Cheer doesn't know how lucky they are that you got all these stories out with us in the early years. Like they
True.
have the
They
refined
don't.
Jason. We had the young, raw
Yeah,
Jason
man.
Yeah,
Larkin.
and it's so funny to
Wear
me.
your emotions on your sleeve, Jason.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me because I've thought about that freezer story now, and I'm like, why are we so angry about that? Like, I feel like now I would handle it so differently than we actually handled it. But I don't know. I don't. We were just. You were so mad. You were so mad.
I was so mad. I was so mad. All right. I don't even know who's telling the story.
I mean,
True story. When I was a kid, my sister would practice her back handsprings down the hill on the side of our yard. Back then, buying mats from Tumble Track was not an option. But now you can step your tumbling game up with a folding incline mat by Tumble Track. Start perfecting those rolls, kickovers, handsprings, and tucks with these cheese wedges that come in 3 different sizes and 3 bold colors. Get ready to flip, twist, and tumble like never before with the safety of an incline mat by Tumble Track. Link in the description.
I feel like you should definitely start, and then I'll add in from our athletes' perspective. Let's give both sides of the story here.
Okay, we can do that. So Tami and I are Liv's an athlete on the team at the time. Tami and I are coaching. And so Tami and I decided to make like a bet about if we showed up late to practice, would the girls start practice without us or would they just be sitting there? And I'm like, no, coach, they would start practice without us. There's no way we would come in 10 minutes late and they would just be chilling there. Like they would start practice without us. We do the same warm up every day. And Tam was like, no, they're just going to be chilling there, not doing anything. And so we go back and forth with this and we decide, okay, we're going to put them to the test. We're going to show up 10 minutes late to practice on purpose and see what they do. And we show up 10 minutes late to practice and the girls are not there. We're like, so they're not practicing, nor are they just chilling. They're just flat out not on the mat. And we're like, where are these girls at? And so we sit down and we're like, yeah, I don't know. And then we start getting text messages from you guys like, hey, like, I don't even remember what you guys were saying, but you guys are like saying you're trolling us. And we're just like, where are these girls? And then all of a sudden you guys came out of those freezers, right? Because we're practicing in the box. You guys come out of the freezers singing the CBU, our cheer that year, but in Spanish, se, be, vámonos. And I am boiling inside. And you guys think it's the funniest thing in the world. And I remember I went one by one and kicked you guys all out of I freaking reamed you guys. I was like, you guys don't want to be here, blah, blah, blah. This ain't a joke. And they kicked you guys out one by one. Liv, you want to be here? Yeah. I went, no, you don't. You're out of practice. Jordan, you want to be on this team? Yeah. No, you don't. Get out of practice. And I remember I got to a point where I had to kick all of you out because I remember my lips started quivering and I was like, oh, Jason, you're like past it. You might do something stupid. And so I was like, the rest of you guys, get out of here. And man, I've never been so hot as a coach before. But yeah, so that was a good time in CBU cheer member. Like, and guys, American, you guys don't know. American Cheer does not know. Jason used to be wild back in the days. Anyway, Liv.
You used to yell at us where your face would shake. Your beard would start moving away from your face and yelling like, man, you were crazy. I think back now, like if you were my assistant coach, I'd be like, hey man, you gotta go sit in the office for a little while.
Yeah, sit a play out, Jay.
Yeah.
All right, Liv, we gotta hear it from your perspective.
Okay, so here we go. We practice in a grocery store. It's not that serious. We discover we have empty freezers, right? So we're, hey, I could fit in this freezer. You could fit in this. Let's go sit in the freezer. Like this will be a fun It'll be a fun game for our coaches. Mind you, we have Ronnie there, like, guys, I don't think we should do this. And then you have Chelsea like, hey, Ronnie, be quiet. It's going to be fine. Let's get in the freezer. So eventually, the three people that think this is a bad idea are outnumbered by the rest of the 17. We all end up in the freezer. We're waiting for them. Like, man, they're taking a long time. We've been sitting in this freezer for, like you said, about 15 minutes now. So someone starts singing in Spanish. We do our cheer in Spanish. And then we hear you guys come in. We hear you come in. We're like, they're still not looking for us. Why aren't they looking for us? Like, their team is missing. So we start texting, come and find us. Let's play hide and go seek. We're playing a game. And so we're like, okay, guys, they're still not playing along with us. What do we do? Like, we got to do something. We can't just sit in here. They're sitting here. We're sitting here. They're not going to come by. Okay, we're going to come out. All right, let's do the cheer. Like, but we have to be full out so that it's still funny. So we come busting out of the freezers, loud as can be, full out, passion, ad-libs and everything. And then we notice that you guys aren't laughing. So we're like, do we still keep going? You guys still aren't laughing. So eventually it just dies out. And then, like you said, one by one, and you start with us, the seniors on the team, kick us out one by one. We're standing outside the door by the time everybody gets kicked out. Like, well, what do we do now? So, of course, here we are, this team. Well, maybe we should go to the front lawn. Should we go practice by ourselves? Because I think they're still mad at us. Here's my question to you. Were you mad because we weren't practicing, or were you mad because you were wrong? That's
I don't
the real
remember
question.
now. No, I think I was probably more mad. I don't think I would have been as mad if you guys weren't practicing. I probably would have had like a real, like we would have said, hey guys, like we need to be practicing. But at the time, I think I was mad because it went from you guys you weren't only not practicing, you were like wasting our time, right? At least how I felt at the time. Like, are you kidding me right now? So,
you know what I will say now? Any CBU cheer team, even to this day, what is that? Almost 10 years later, if it is 4:00 and practice starts at 4:00, they're praying without me. Yeah. They are on the mat. Yep. They are starting to go. So great job scaring us and starting this this value of being on time. So yeah, there we go. It worked out in the end. We're scarred for life, but it worked out for the program.
Tami, anything you want to add on with that story?
No, it's all true. Everything they say is true. I got no additions. I mean, there was a bet. And there was a freezer, and there was some kids kicked out that day. No practice happened in front of the coaches, that's for sure. And then we came back, and we were fine.
That's very true. And it's just a good story. So Alyssa Lujan, I can't remember what year it was, but we're on and off if Alyssa's going to be on the team or not. And we're like, dude, is she going to be on the team? And she like hadn't registered for classes yet for whatever reason. And, you know, we needed her schedule. And so second semester, and we weren't sure she's going to be on the team. Second semester starts, and Alyssa is now registered for classes. And she's been practicing for like 2 weeks now. And we're like, awesome, Alyssa's going to be on the team. And, you know, Alyssa was a great athlete and, you know, one of our best flyers, if not our best flyer on the team. I can't remember what year it was, but she was a phenomenal athlete and definitely made our team better. And so it's great news that Alyssa's going to be able to compete with us, and she's registered for classes and everything. And then one day Tami calls me and goes, Jason, I need you to go down to the school right now. I can't go, you know, I have this, so I can't go, but they're saying Alyssa is not registered for classes. And I have her schedule right here. She's registered. Jason, you need to go down to CBU right now and take care of this. And I'm like, okay, coach, I got you. So, you know, I go get ready and I drive down to the school and I meet up with Alyssa and I'm like, hey, kid. And I'm like looking at her like, hey, we're going to take care of this, kiddo. Don't worry. Coach has got your back. And I go into whoever's office that was, some administrator at CBU. And I'm sitting there and he pulls up her schedule. And he goes, all right.
Dr. Parker.
And he pulls up his computer. No, it was not Dr. Parker. 100%. I was in someone's office. I had no idea who they were. And I was like on the admin side, not the admin side, but I was like in the academic side of like the school. Like it wasn't over by athletics. And he pulls up this schedule and he's like, he's like, so this is your schedule? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, you got her schedule. And he's like, well, right here, And he goes one by one. He goes, right here, we do a left justification, like write the words starting all the way on the left side. He's like, and these words here are center justified. And I go, oh, that's kind of odd, right? And then he goes, and physics right here is spelled wrong. And I go, spelled wrong, right? And then he goes, and this class, we don't offer this class here at CBU. And I'm like, Alyssa forged this thing? Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh no, I'm on the wrong side of the table. And I remember I had my phone on me. My phone is sitting in between my legs. And I'm like, oh no, coach, Alyssa is not registered for classes. And I'm trying to text you, but not like text in the meeting, you know? And I just remember, I don't even remember what I text you, but I just remember like texting you like, the gig is up, homie. Like, we got to get out of here. Right? And that I always just, and I remember just looking at Alyssa and he said, is there anything you want to say, right? And Alyssa goes to commit to the lie. She goes to say, no, this is my schedule. And I remember I stopped her and I was like, no, Alyssa, like once you say this is your schedule, like everything is going to be better if you tell us the truth right now. Cause it's very obvious. She forged the schedule. And I'm like, Alyssa, you need to come clean. If you have a real schedule, then, tell us. But if this is not real, then you need to tell him now. And Alyssa eventually was like, yeah, I made it up or whatever. And I was just like, man, whoo, Alyssa, what are you trying to get your boy in trouble? Like, I'm over here going to bat for you, and you spelled physics wrong. Right. So, anyway, good times, guys.
Wait, okay.
Guys, it's been real. It's been fun. Hey, Liv, tell us how we can follow you online, how we can follow the program. If you want to email you to get in contact with CBU Cheer, let us know.
Yeah, I mean, we're CBU Cheer everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. Find us at CBU Cheer. If you're interested in learning more about the program or coming to CBU, we have a recruit form online. You can find that at cbulancers.com, or you can send me an email, oquick@calbaptist.edu.
There we go, oquick@calbaptist.edu. Liv, you've been awesome. Tammy, you've been awesome. You're welcome back anytime. All right, Brandon, so if the people want to follow you or get in contact with you to be a part of the stunt team or follow you guys online, how can they do all of that? Plug your email, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having us. This was a blast. This was a great time. The million takes and everything, it's well worth it. And it's good to kind of get the legacy, the team back together. Follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, CBU Stunt. We are currently in our season, so you can check out some of the live stream games. My email is bseagondollar@californiabaptist.edu. Hit me up if you're interested in the program or just want to find out more about CBU Stunt. Also, you can go online, check out some of our live stats, updates, and then you can also fill out a athlete form on there, and that will give you our direct information. We love just spreading the word of stunt, trying to get it bigger. And now that it's become an NCAA sport, a lot of great female opportunities and lots of great growth in the sport. So love to contact with anyone or chit chat about any thing stunt, anything cheer. Hit me up.
There we go. Love it, Brandon. Hey, Brandon, you're welcome back anytime.
Cool. Thank you.
It was real. Hey, Let's Talk Cheer podcast listeners. Although this episode has come to an end, there are a few other cheer podcasts out there that you can add to your weekly routine. If you're a gym owner or gym director and want to dive more into the business side of things, then check out the Connecting People and Profits podcast with host Dan Cotton. If you're a former cheerleader and want to hear the success stories from other former cheer athletes after their cheering days are done, then you'd love the Life After Cheer podcast with host Danielle Donovan. And if you're a cheer parent and need another cheer parent to relate to and want to hear things from a cheer mom's perspective,